Matt Mercer, you bloody genius. Hello everyone, today on Fraud on the Telly, I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and reactions for Critical Role Campaign 3, Episode 51, one of the absolutely craziest episodes of Critical Role I've ever seen, probably a top 5 episode of all time, as in this episode we finally got our payoff a year and a half later since the debut of Campaign 3 for this insane, ruinous arc. Enough babbling, there's so much we need to talk about here. Let's just get straight into the video, shall we? So where we last left off, our party was dealing with this Malleus key as the apogee solstice is upon us. They have made some brand new allies, some familiar old faces to our party, Caleb and Bo from Campaign 2. Things started off pretty well for our party, but immediately went to shit. Our group manages to go undercover, penetrating the heart of this operation, making their way through the Malleus key and all of the different structures around it. FCG managing to take over one of these warders, these large automatons, stuffing a bunch of the other cast members into his belly. The group split up, having a slight little scuffle, winning and not managing to blow their cover as they destroy a bunch of the power sources that are all linked to the Malleus key. However, though, once the explosions start to go off, the alarm bells start to ring, and a most unfortunate thing happens. Bo and Caleb both get captured. Now, Matt was having Liam and Marisha make several rolls throughout the beginning of this episode, and this seemed to be if Caleb and Bo were going to be caught, and unfortunately, they rolled really low. A theme that we're going to see throughout this episode is our cast had many chances to completely or very much completely stop this event on the apogee solstice, but through either bad rolls or just bad choices, well, they didn't manage to completely stop it. With Bo and Caleb captured, Ludinus begins to go on one of his many big evil guy, bad guy rants. He begins to funnel energy into the Malleus key, in which we see a strange artifact inside of it. This artifact, we the audience knows, is one of the Luxem beacons. It seems that that is what they are using to power this Malleus key on the prime material plane. All of a sudden, things really start to pop off. Imogen's mom attempts to cast a spell on Aurum, but Imogen manages to talk her out of it, though she does see Ira snooping around, and she banishes him back into the Feywild. Oopsie, in a period of like 5 minutes, our party basically had some of their three strongest allies removed from the playing field. Keyleth shows up in Earth Elemental form, smashing into the middle of the battlefield, but literally just as soon as she arrived, Keyleth gets basically taken out. Ludinus casts Powerwood Stun on her as Otahan emerges with her shadows, doing a giga amount of damage, dropping her Earth Elemental form and then continuing to strike out at her. She most likely would have killed Keyleth here if it wasn't for one of the biggest plot reveals, biggest surprises maybe we've had ever on Critical Role, as out of nowhere a whirl of black and raven feathers emerges, a tall slender man wearing a cloak of raven feathers with a white mask. This is our boy, Vaxel Dawn, who is here somehow to save the day and to save his girl, Keyleth. Unfortunately, though, in an even wilder turn of events, it seems like this was Ludinus's plan all along, as suddenly all of these mirrors that are around the Malleus key shifting their gaze, their beams onto Vax himself. As Ludinus begins uttering something under his breath, suddenly these mirrors pierce Vax with beams of energy, as Vax is then transported and compressed down into this little ball of black energy as he is placed inside of the Malleus key. Basically, Vax being the little glass lens, the one that Ira had earlier, the one that our boy Ashton destroyed all of those episodes ago. We learned that this is a shred of divinity and is necessary for the Malleus key. Now, this is one of the most mind-blowing things that I've seen. I talked in a number of videos, specifically our last video, the fall of Campaign 3, about how Campaign 3 is really the culmination of events that have happened throughout all of Critical Role, throughout Campaigns 1 and 2, and throughout all of the other mini-series that have gone on here. Matt has been planning this meticulously from the very beginning, using all of our characters' choices and motivations basically throughout everything to really plan all of this out. And it seems from the very beginning, this was Ludinus's plan. The reason that he and Otahan were attacking Keyleth from the very beginning was ultimately to get to Vax, who they know apparently that Keyleth is intrinsically linked to. This is most likely the reason why the Paragon's Call were wearing the Raven Queen, the matron of Raven, visages, is that they were trying to goad Vax'ildan and Keyleth out into this fight all along from the very beginning, because they needed to use him as a shred of divinity in order for their machine to work. Absolutely mind-blowing, completely amazing. Matt Mercer, you absolute savage, you. Chetney attempts to stop Ludinus, attempting to restrain his arms, but he is blocked by shield, and thus Ludinus is able to continue the ritual, as we see a coalescing of energy meet at the top of this Malleus Key as a beam of light flies through the air, striking into the moon above. Ludinus begins to begin another one of his classic baddie rants, saying, "Let us destroy what will unmake them. 1,000 years passed, you couldn't stop me, it's too late," as he bellows out in maniacal laughter. Suddenly, explosions of magical energy begin to coalesce as our party are strangely split up and transported away from whatever was going on here with the Malleus Key. Our party has been divided, with FCG, Fern, Chetney, and Imogen all in one place together, this strange white field of sand, which Chetney realizes is the Crystal Sands tundra, somewhere near his hometown of Uthadern, which is very, very far away in the world of Exandria from this area of Marquette, where they literally just were. As well, the rest of the party are transported somewhere else. We don't know. What we know that they are still in Marquette, because they can, at least we assume they're in Marquette, because they can see Ruidus and the red moon and the light coming down on into the earth. It's very interesting here, this move to split the party. It seems almost like we're going to be getting kind of two different stories, most likely guest characters coming as well to fill out the members, almost kind of Slayer's Take-esque little arc like we had early on in campaign 1. It seems that my prediction was kind of right in many ways. It seems that what little the party and their allies were able to do to stop this big event on the Apogee Solstice somewhat succeeded. It seems that they have delayed, at least for some time, the emergence of Predathos and its power on to the world of Exandria. They've bought some time in order to, I guess, figure out a way to stop Ludinus and figure out exactly what he is up to and possibly make some more allies. We really just don't know, as it seems like the tables are absolutely stacked against our party. We do have some things to go on, though. We know that our northern group, the group with Chetney, they're Uthadern, which is Chetney's hometown, and definitely some Chetney backstory, which is going to be linked into all of this, we have to think, is also close to the city of Melasmir, the city that was Ludinus's hometown, his place of birth, if we are to believe him, 1,000 years ago, a city that I believe was impacted from the fall of Aeor, corrupting the surrounding area, and it is possible that we could find some information here on Ludinus, his path, and possibly his motivation as to why he hates the gods. Overall, this episode was absolutely crazy. I have to applaud our party. I think they did as well as they could. There was a number of things that they could have done to further stop the events going on here, but in the moment, it's just so hard to do. We have to remember as well that this party is level 8. Like we said, they could have restrained Ludinus from continuing the ritual. That was, if Chetney would have succeeded, it's possible that they would have bought them at least 1 to 2 more turns before the ritual would have started. As well, Imogen could have convinced their mother to help them. That was definitely a possibility. The cats were also informed of the strange mirror structure that they used to bind Vax, which maybe if they would have done an Arcana check, they could have learned potentially what it was for and possibly destroyed it. We really don't know. There was just a bunch of different possibilities and avenues that could have been taken here, and I have to applaud the party. It feels like they did as well as they could considering the circumstances. And you know, at the end of the day, I had a great freaking time. That Vax'ildan cameo was absolutely insane. Personally, I never thought we were going to see Vax again in the campaign, in the world of Exandria, just obviously based on the events of how Vax was left off, but it does make sense. If any champion of a god was going to step in, it would be one like Vax, who has personal stake in Keyleth as well as the rest of the world. There was so many good things about this episode, from the little interactions between Imogen and her mom to obviously the greater reveals of Vax and everything that was going on with Ludinus, the fact that he was hunting from Vax from the very beginning, and all of this seems to have set up. It's just so interesting, man, and Ludinus as a character, there's just so much mystery around him, so many questions we have left unanswered, like how is he 1,000 years old? He speaks about the calamity like he was there, but it doesn't seem like it's possible he could have been there as well. It always seems like he's one step ahead, almost like he is possibly harnessing the power of the beacon, the power of dunamancy and possibility. We really just don't know. All I can say is I am looking forward to next week's episode of Critical Role. I can't wait to see what the fallout is from this crazy event. Is Vax really dead and gone? What happened to Keyleth? What happened to Bo and Caleb? All of our allies? What is going on with the world? So many questions left unanswered. The last year I've been putting out crazy theories and speculation as well as the rest of the community, and it's so crazy to finally see all of these theories and speculation come to a head, as genuinely I'm surprised by just how right I was on so many things. Well, at least it seems like we were right. We really just don't know yet until Matt lays all of the cards and information out on the table. Personally, though, this absolutely lived up to the hype to me. This is one of the most fun episodes of Critical Role I've seen. I haven't been looking forward to an episode of Critical Role like this in a long time, and it just feels good, man. If you didn't know it, Campaign 3 has gotten a lot of flack since its inception for a variety of different reasons, some of which are somewhat valid, but I still love all of the aspects of this story, and it feels so good for it to finally have some crazy major payoff, and I can't wait to see what other future mysteries are in store with Campaign 3. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts of this episode in the comments down below. I can't wait to read your thoughts and theories. As well, if you did enjoy this video, why don't you go check out our Fall of Campaign 3 video, where we break down just why so many people in the Critical Role fandom seem to have issues with Campaign 3. As always, guys, I hope to see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Until next time, peace, love, Adu.
We became numb to the yapping. It was like 05, got my license to drive. Picked you up in my pop's car, went for a ride. Couldn't no one tell us nothing. That night was ours. All the stars aligned and you were so damn fine. Yeah, it was young love, young hearts were so pure. We trust love, it's so hard to endure. A few years passed, made the move.